advocacy, community, education, resources, rewards. Learn more at thervadvisor.com.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. Today, my guests are Jules and Stace, and they are from OME Gear. OME Gear. You can see them at omegear.com. Hi, folks. Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be with you today.
Excited to have you. And I'm looking at, first of all, we'll get into the backstory because it's a great story of how you guys got started.
Thanks.
I'm looking, and OME stands for Oceans, Mountains, and Earth. That kind of covers everything, doesn't it? I mean, there's you didn't really leave any stone unturned there. You pretty much went right for everything.
Yep. Well, that was the point.
Actually, on our RV, the side of it says
from sea to shining sea and every mountain in between.
Yep. So it kind of covers it all.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, well, good for you. So tell us, first of all, what it is when you go to the site, what it is folks are going to find in general.
Yeah, sure. Stace.
So like you said, Tom, the name of our company is OME Gear, and we're an outdoor innovation company. And our flagship product is called the Wonder. It's named after Jules's dad, and we can talk about that side of the story. But it's the first 5-in-1 product. So it's a cart that actually transforms into a higher off the ground camping type chair, to a low to the ground beach type chair, to a fully reclining lounge chair, to a camping cot. So this is mine and Jules' design. So this is what we are starting out to take to market. We have a roadmap of products after that, but the story does not start with us. It started 22 years ago with Jules' dad.
Yes, we're going to learn about that. It harkens back to your days in Bethany Beach, Delaware.
That's right.
I've been before, in Rehoboth Beach and all that stretch there. Beautiful area.
It is a beautiful area. We grew up going probably like 38 summers. We went there because my dad was in the National Guard. He flew helicopters. And so we started by vacationing in the barracks. We would get a week in the barracks, and there's 6 kids in my family, so we would all get a bunk bed. And then we eventually evolved and ended up being in the condos on the beach. So we progressed in our vacationing skills.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's it's an area that I think, unless you're maybe from the mid-Atlantic or the Northeast, maybe a lot of folks they don't think of Delaware as that kind of a vacation destination. But I grew up in Pennsylvania, north of Philadelphia, in the Poconos area, and so I was real familiar with that stretch, and it is a great place, and it's where the idea for this company was born, right?
It's true. Yeah, for sure. Back in 1998, my mom and dad were sitting on the boardwalk, and they watched a single mom. I mean, I don't know if she was single, but she was by herself that day with 3 kids coming off the beach, and they were hot and sweaty and sticky and miserable, honestly, and were not helping carry anything. And so my mom and dad just were watching, and they said, gosh, going to the beach should never be a hard experience. And so they went up and sort of did the quintessential like American dream thing, where they napkin sketched out this dolly kind of thing that if you flipped it up on its other end, that it would become a lounger. And they thought, if this woman had this product, she could load all the stuff up on it, use it as a chair, and then when she gets ready to leave, load it up, and that would give her hand free to hold the kids. And so they napkin sketched it. My dad got it patented, tried to take it to market, and just ran out of money and know-how. Because at that point, Google wasn't as helpful as Google is today. And so then it just sat on the shelf for about 12 years. 2010, I ended up I was working for a large consulting firm, and wanted something that I could focus on to be my own. And so I remembered it, the thoughts at 1:30 in the morning where you're like, gosh, like that either feels really, really hard or it feels really, really doable. But our thoughts in the middle of the night are never like super realistic. So I remember thinking about my dad's product and said, gosh, like, what if I try to take that to market? And I was just dumb enough to think I could do it and just smart enough to think maybe I could do it. And so I called him up the next morning and said, hey, Dad, what would you think about me trying to take your product to market? And he, through tears, he's one of our absolute heroes. All of us kids and now Stace. And he's a really amazing man.
Salt of the earth.
Yeah, he's a good man. And so I said, Dad, what would you think about me trying to take your product to market? And he started crying. And he said, that would be a dream come true. You can have everything. So he signed the patent over to me. And then I was off to the races. So I thought, I got a business partner, colleague of mine from the consulting firm. And we ended up partnering with a manufacturer out of North Carolina. And, initially, like a lot of things, it felt like it was going to be a match made in heaven. And then about 6 or 9 months in, I realized that what was under the covers wasn't as pretty as what was above the covers. And so eventually I ended up walking away from that. And then that was in 2014.
Yeah.
They ended up dissolving that company. And then in 2016, 2017, Stace and I just said, gosh, nobody has taken this idea. What if we use all the consumer feedback and just our own sort of ingenuity and redesign this into something that is a lot more user-friendly, a lot more what customers want, a smaller footprint, a lighter weight. And here we are in 2021, started shipping product in March, and now we're literally off to the races.
Wow.
And it's not just for the beach. I mean, I think that was the old company that Jules had it was a beach product, and or it was even in the name, the name was beach. And so that's where we got oceans plus mountains equals earth. We wanted it to be a product that anytime you needed to haul something and have a seat when you got there, whatever that is, camping, children's soccer games, softball games, tailgating, RVing, we keep 3 on our RV at all times.
Right.
To sit in, wherever you are camping, where you can have a camping cot and a chair sitting out by your fire and just roll it right in when you're ready to go to sleep. So, that was our whole mission, was to make sure that people had an opportunity to get outdoors and just make it really easy for them.
Wow. One more time, before we go to the break, one more time, tell folks everything it does. It's a lounge. It's a lounger. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it actually keeps evolving, but how we designed it was a 5-in-1. So a cart that hauls 150 pounds of gear with the only wheels that actually roll on soft sand and don't require air. So there are some wheels that require air that work, but ours are the only ones that don't require air. So they'll never go flat and work on any kind of terrain, including soft sand. So it's a cart that hauls 150 pounds of gear. Once you get it unloaded, it turns into a low to the ground, like beach type chair, a higher off the ground camping chair, a fully reclinable lounge chair, and a camping cot. And then we've designed straps that when it's in cot mode, you can pull it and you can load up multiple kayaks, multiple surfboards, multiple paddle boards, or if you're a hunter, it can carry your kill from the woods back to your car, your truck, or whatever.
What does it weigh?
In total, it weighs 30 pounds, but we've designed the wheels. We have 3 patents on it already, and are getting a 4th patent on the wheels because it has an axle with a toggle that just pops up and locks in. And so you never lose the pin. So the wheels pop off easily. So if you ever need to lift it, you would never need to lift it unless you're putting it into a car or on the garage wall for storage. But the wheels pop off easily, and they're 3 pounds each. So that would take it down to about 24 pounds.
Wow.
A Thanksgiving turkey.
Which is a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point. And it'll haul a Thanksgiving turkey. I can tell you it'll haul one of those as well. Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Wow, that is one of those that's got a big wow factor. It really does. I find that kind of innovation and ingenuity. Really inspiring, which are three words that begin with the word I. I just realized that now. Ingenuity. Yeah. Influencing.
That's
And
alliteration.
What's that?
Which is another I word. That's alliteration, which is another
Yes, it
I
is
word.
That's true. There we go. Okay, that's why folks are tuning in for the alliteration. We really provide it all right here on the podcast. I'm speaking I'm speaking with Stace and Jules, and they're from OME, and it's OME gear: oceans, mountains, earth, which again pretty much covers it all. We got a lot more to talk about on the other side of this break. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. Back in just a moment.
The RV Advisor was created for you to protect your rights as an RV enthusiast and arm you with the knowledge to navigate the complex RV industry. There's strength in numbers, and that's why we've built a nationwide network of RV owners empowering you with the advice you can trust at rvadvisor.com.
We are back on the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. My guests are Jules and Stace from OME Gear. OME Gear. And I know you folks are certainly, you're incredibly busy, and you're also going to be doing the sort of the big tour, the big kind of road show sooner than later. And California is high atop the list. So there's a lot of things you got planned ahead for the second half of 2021. And we chatted in the break about a lot of things which we'll bring up. Let me ask you this really quickly. How have you folks emerged from the pandemic? Did it slow the process? How did it affect you guys?
Yeah. I mean, we encountered so many hurdles during COVID. We were actually working with a manufacturer in China, and they went silent on us. So we had to find a new manufacturer. We had to fire a manufacturer, and then find a new one in COVID. And so that feat in itself was a huge one that we had to overcome. Not the feat, but it was a huge obstacle.
Yeah.
And so when we did, and we found one, and he was a gentleman that went to BYU, but he lives in China. And so he was familiar with the United States. His family is from Columbia, South Carolina. He knew what sand was, which was awesome. So, he was able to know what our product was going to be all about, being that one of the focuses is on the beach and sand. And then he helped us get it over the finish line. So we were super thankful for that. But, other hurdles during the pandemic was, finding funding for our company. It was just, Jules and I did over 100 pitches, all Zoom. And, we have a product that needs to be demonstrated. So it's really hard not to have someone touch it and feel it and work it themselves and really believe in our vision. So those were two of the biggest hurdles that I feel like we had to overcome in 2020.
It's interesting. You brought, I want to get your take too, Jules, but it's interesting that, Zoom has certainly broken a lot of ground for a lot of folks during this time. People discovered it, including us right here at the podcast. We were an audio only for a long time. And then when Zoom happened, it opened a door to a video cast. But and it's incredibly convenient in many, many ways. People get to reconnect, and that's all great. All that's good. But to actually, when you're in the middle of a pitch and you want to see the product, you kind of want to kick the tires a little bit, and you can't quite kick the tires on Zoom. So go ahead, Jules. Tell us a little bit your take on that, on the whole emerging from the pandemic.
Yeah, certainly the biggest hurdles are what Stace mentioned for our company. I would say a benefit of the pandemic for us is we lead such busy lives that every night we were out with people. Relationships are paramount to us. So we have a great circle of friends and family in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And so the pandemic sort of forced us to be home. And so it was nice to be able to take a breather, take a break, stay home, do things in nature where maybe we wouldn't have done before. So there were blessings as well as massive hurdles through the pandemic, I think, for both of us.
Yeah. Let's just jump back to the actual product itself for a second, the Wanderer, and let folks know again where. They can get it. They can go to your site, omegear.com, omegear.com. Anything specific that you'd like to point out about the product itself, in terms of, I don't know, color scheme or, other things?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, it does come in 6 colors right now. We'll be coming out with other colors as well, but it comes in 6 colors. And then our wheels, I don't know if we mentioned this, but our wheels are actually the only ones that actually roll easily on any kind of terrain, including soft sand.
Yes,
so a lot of products say they do, and they do not roll in soft sand, and ours don't require air. So that's a really big differentiator for us. And yeah, I mean, what's really interesting is the front pocket. We designed it so it Velcros off so that it can be labeled with somebody's logo. So if somebody wanted to give them away as gifts for employees or for customers, or wanted to brand them their RV park, or something like that, it's easy to do that by just taking the pocket off the front. And then we tried to choose 6 different colors that can kind of match anybody's color scheme.
That's interesting you brought that up, because it just got me thinking about RV parks and things. Can you see this becoming something that maybe a park might buy X amount of units from you and use them almost as rentals or something? Is that something that you've heard from folks, or?
Yes, 100%. Were you going to answer that?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
No, really, I insist.
Yeah, absolutely, because they can use it as a cart for, now that we're RVers, we can use it for laundry or trash, to haul things or get your packages. A lot of people have packages sent to RV parks to haul those kinds of things. But then also it allows you can sleep under the stars, which is kind of cool, to get out of the RV for a night. But then also to have a seat by the campfire, or if there's a beach at the RV park, or if they go to the beach, or if they, it just has multiple uses, and it's a great product for something like that.
And it stores small. We designed it where it actually will store. We have on our RV on the bed, we have 4 stored up there, and then we store another 3 that we use daily in our tow vehicle. So when we're driving, but other than those are going to be out all the time. Those are the first things we put up, so people can see them. We put them up in all the different positions so people come and try them out. So we've had, a lot of people could just come by and sit in them and just want to see what we're all about.
Yeah. My guests are Jules and Stace from OME Gear. And, you mentioned RVing and the fact that you're new RVers. And, again, we were chatting a little bit in the break, and you said that you believed in your product so much that you needed to make some lifestyle changes, and you did. You sold your brick and mortar living existence into RVing, and it was, as you'd mentioned, it was a necessity in order to have the funds to kind of continue the journey. And now look where you are. So it's growing. It's people. I think it's just it's an inspiring story.
Thanks. Yeah, not without its gray hairs and wrinkles and tears and sleepless nights and all of that. Any entrepreneur could tell you that. But we just looked at each other and we said, because we had sold our car, we had sold our 2 rental homes, we had cashed in our 401ks, we had sold a boat. And the only thing of value really that we had left was our home. And we had a good bit of equity in it. And so we said, well, how much do we believe in this company and this product. And it was sort of a kind of a come to Jesus conversation where we said we fully believe in it. And we said, well, do we believe in it enough to sell our home? And the answer to that was yes. And so we did, and took the equity of our home and put it into our manufacturing to be able to pay for our manufacturing to get to where we are now. So we are all in. We do have an address in Charleston, so that's good. But we are all in this RV, doing a lot of staying with friends as well, so that we're not only staying on the RV, but touring the US and building our brand.
Yeah. Wow. I'll tell you, hats off. That is really inspiring. And
Thank you.
yeah, it really, really is. I hear stories like this a lot. I would say I don't meet as many folks that do it as much as hearing about the stories. So to speak with you both and see how this process gets off the ground. Our leader here at the RV Advisor is a self-made woman who is an inspiration to so many folks as well. And she came from very modest situation into building a growing, thriving business, and it's also inspiring. So it's absolutely terrific. I want to let folks know too that the entrepreneurship doesn't end only with the Wanderer and with OME. You're both authors, and you've got another company called Salty Rim. We've just got a couple of minutes left, but I do want to hear about that. Now, the author, you've written a children's book.
Yeah.
You co-wrote the book?
Yeah. So we had adopted a pup from Puerto Rico, and it was quite the challenge to get him over to the US. We actually had friends and superstars, we can't really say who they were, country stars that would help us get him to us. And he was a chocolate lab, about 12 years old, but was super sick when we got him. So we nursed him back to health and had him for about 5 months, and then he passed away. And so the whole story is him getting to us. His name was Rico. He was from Puerto Rico, and the name of the book is called Rescued by Rico. And it was about him crossing over the Rainbow Bridge. And so it's a children's book to kind of educate them that, yes, losing a pet is hard, but they go to a beautiful place after. And 50% of all the proceeds go to 4 rescue organizations that we're a part of.
What was his name?
His name was Rico.
We named him Rico.
You named him Rico. Okay. So connected to Puerto Rico. And
that's right.
The rescue world is like who rescues who in those situations. So a lot of times they come in and we feel like, they feel like they've been rescued, but a lot of times they rescue the owners. And so that's where.
Well, any pet lover and dog owner can certainly relate to that and the depth of that relationship. We've had dogs for a long time. We don't right now, but we've had some wonderful pets over the years, and and dogs specifically. And it is a relationship that is often hard to put into words, but they are the most loyal, and the unconditional love, I think, is what everybody can attest to. And it's great that you did this. And then last thing we want to chat about was Salty Rim. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my background is in consulting. I worked with one of the largest consulting firms in the world, and Stace's background is in 9. She's been a part of the on the ground floor of 9 startups, and so when we just wanted to help other businesses, and so we started our consulting business called A Salty Rim back in 2014, I think, something like that, and have consulted with over 100 companies, small businesses, where we just try to help them grow their business. And a lot of times what happens is entrepreneurs reach a plateau and they don't know how to get to the next level. And so that's what we help them do, is create a strategic plan to get to the next level. We're not doing it as much because we're pretty invested in growing OME Gear, but we always save room for a couple of clients who we really feel drawn to help them grow their businesses. So we call our businesses and our books and our podcasts, we call them our children, because we don't have any children, but we have a lot of companies that we call our kids, because anybody who owns a company knows can be as troublesome and as celebratory as children.
And cost as much.
Oh yeah, right. And they often don't go to bed by 9 o'clock at night either. You know, it goes
sure
around the clock, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I'm sure. And well, listen, it's been wonderful speaking with both of you. OME Gear is the name of the company. OMEgear.com is where you can find all the wonderful products, and check it out. It's something really worth seeing and investigating. I think you will not be disappointed. OME Gear, that's oceans, mountains, earth. My guests are Jules and Stace. We'll definitely love to have you on again, and safe travels, and good luck on the Great American Tour.
Thank you so much, Tom. Yeah, what a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. We'll be back in just a moment.
Buying an RV is an exciting moment, like buying a new house. You should inspect the RV and the contracts thoroughly. You may not know what to look for, and that's where the RV Advisor comes in. GG and her experts are here for you at rvadvisor.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. And of course, I am joined by our guest coordinator, Neve Carey-Zacco. Hey, Neve, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm okay. Just juggling things and bouncing back and forth from thing to thing, but we're good here. And it is, it's been a lot of fun on the show lately. Some great guests.
Yeah. It's been really fun. Actually, speaking of that, Tom, we had one of our previous podcast guests reach out, interested in jumping on again because they had some exciting news and things to share. And as our followers and listeners, and Tom, we are more than happy to see previous guests jump on again and give us an update and give us some different content. I mean, a lot of these people are on the road and have seen some more things, have learned more things, and just have different topics to discuss on our show. So yeah, it's really nice to get them back on, a familiar face, and just get a nice little update from them. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we're very excited. So to anyone that has been on our podcast before, listening, if you would like to get back on again, please feel free to reach out to us. My email address is ncarey@thervadvisor.com, or you can reach us on Facebook or Instagram or any of those good places like that where we're on social media. So yeah, please reach out to us and we would love to have you back on again.
Absolutely. And we've had several guests that have been just terrific, with great stories to tell. And oftentimes, as you said, there's sort of stories in progress. There's a part 2, there's additional chapters that we need to hear about. So we'd love to have those folks back on again. And for you first timers, it's the same thing. ncarey@thervadvisor.com, ncarey@thervadvisor.com. If you're interested in hopping on the pod with us, that would be great. Well, Neve, thank you so much. And we'll see you again on Friday.
Yep.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.